Welcome to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues.
And I'm Brian Hines.
Today we're getting into all the action from OVW Rise 1286, which this week, oddly enough, was recorded on a Tuesday, but broadcast live on YouTube on April 4th, 2024.
It was.
That's the first time I've had to change that sentence in the notes since we started this gig.
Yeah, can't you tell I came from radio and I'm very used to whenever there's whenever there's any sort of inconsistency in the notes, I have no idea how to react. Even though things on this past week were different in OVW schedule, things on our feed will continue to stay the same. That's also that radio experience. Being able to tie it all back
as long as the electricity holds
As long as the electricity holds
Yes,
up.
I do apologize for being late last week, and we did manage to actually skip Overdrive last week, so that's my bad. We may double up and do both the Overdrives on this week's episode. I don't know exactly what we're going to do.
Lucky you guys, double the Vic. You guys thought you'd survive. Nope, it's just unfortunate that Tiny Brian was going through one of the worst living situations in his life. Didn't have electricity.
This released at 5 a.m. last Tuesday, and 4 hours later, a storm brewed, and I lost power, and I did not get my power back until after OVW had started broadcasting on Thursday.
You drove us up here to the Davis Arena last Tuesday.
On Tuesday,
and
yes.
I don't think you had told any of us.
Well,
I think
just
we
assumed
found out
I would have power back when I got home that night, so what was the big deal?
Yeah, we had no idea.
We found out on Facebook or on Instagram at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a producer. I don't have problems. I'm here to facilitate the show.
It's been a topsy-turvy week. I mean, they did their show live on Tuesday in the midst of tornadoes hitting all over the state. We were basically driving straight into active tornado country, and then, I mean, everything's kind of under construction, and there was an eclipse, and it's just been
it's been strange.
Yeah.
Strange week.
Strange days indeed, man.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because a few months ago, we had kind of a bad snowstorm on the drive back, and Tiny Brian said, I'm never doing this ever again. And then this past Tuesday rolls around, he says, get in the car, boys. We're driving into this tornado.
We're playing Twister on the way to OVW.
Like 1994, the 1994 classic Twisters.
Yeah.
That is a classic movie.
It is. Somehow it is actually a classic movie.
I love that movie. It so holds up.
I just think that you getting back on the Blizzard night emboldened you somehow, and maybe not in the best way.
No. I have fooled around and survived. That's probably not a good sign.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you can do it. All right. So in this past week, of course, we had eclipse and snow and tornadoes and all kinds of stuff. We're rebuilding our studio. You guys will see more and more improvements, not only in the way we sound, but the way that we look in our studio over the coming weeks. But we had Orion last week in the feed, and Tuss and Chains will be coming up this week in the feed on Thursday.
I was glad to finally get a chance to listen to the Orion interview. It was just as intense as I remember it being, and it was just really a pleasure. I mean, I'm glad that we finally got a chance to talk to him because we hadn't been able to yet, and I hope that we are able to in the future.
Yeah, definitely. We've said it a couple times. I'll stop saying it after this week, but it's from that huge day where we just interviewed everybody, and we've been so nervous about how some of these interviews are going to come out because we don't really remember them because they all happen so quickly.
Yeah.
Orion brought the goods. He put the bacon on the table.
Sure did.
He sure did.
I did sort of frog march you guys around a little bit that day. It's like, come on, talk to this person.
Yeah.
Talk to that person. Get chased by
there
this
was
zombie.
no relaxing and just hanging out with the wrestlers for either of us, really.
I wish I could have let that happen, but I didn't get to do it either, if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, and I hear you, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do something like that again, but we'll just see how it goes.
We kind of already mentioned here that we're doing a lot of work on the studio. We hope to see more of, being able to show you guys more of that work more presently in the coming weeks. And then Tiny Brian, you mentioned too that you and
Victor?
Yeah, you and Victor will be having your little show.
Yes, covering Overdrive, yes.
Okay. So we're going to do something too before we jump into OVW. No, let's knock out these tour dates and then we'll break format for a second.
Okay.
Sounds good.
OVW Double Cross live from the Kentucky Derby Festival on May 2nd. A Pegasus pin will get you in. If you are in Louisville for whatever reason that week, a Pegasus pin is almost necessary for any social thing that you're planning on doing anyway. So go ahead and pick up your Pegasus.
Okay, so I don't mean to interrupt, but me not being from Kentucky, I don't understand what this phrase means. The Pegasus pin will get you in. I understand that it's a physical pin, but what is the story behind it? Is it something that happens every year?
So
we don't really know. We're just saying
like
something somebody else
said. The Derby Festival is basically what they call it. And it's the week, maybe 2 weeks prior to the Derby. And
it starts with Thunder over Louisville, which is 2 weeks before the Derby.
Yeah. And so there's concerts. This year there's OVW, there's wrestling, there's events and parties and all kinds of stuff. And then if you just have your thing, it basically, the Pegasus pin basically just means that you've paid admission, as opposed to paying admission for all of these individual events. It is your Bonnaroo wristband for the Kentucky Derby Festival.
I knew that. I mean, everybody knows that the Derby's a big deal. I didn't realize that there were 2 weeks worth of shenanigans and things going on. I mean, I knew that there were concerts because I saw Bob Dylan play at Jillian's, like in 2003, maybe.
Okay, I saw him in 2005.
But he was playing a concert before the Derby, and Victor and I were there for that one.
But yeah, the Pegasus pin, the Kentucky Derby Festival. They've kind of, I guess, for a little more insight, they've kind of tried to make the Kentucky Derby Festival very, very, very Louisville-centric, because the Kentucky Derby itself can seem to be so international. They want to do things they want to say thank you for the residents of Louisville, because they know for the couple of days before the actual Derby, it can be kind of hell to live in Louisville.
Yeah.
I think is kind of where the Kentucky Derby Festival really found its footing. I could be wrong about that.
2 different wrestling shows, because aside from the
Double
Double Cross taping,
there'll be a Run for the Ropes,
and and I did confirm that is 2 separate shows, one in Louisville, one in Nashville. Kennison tells me they've done this several times, and it's not a problem, and you should stop worrying about it.
I'm not necessarily worried about it. I'm just very curious now that I think about OVW in a critical way, weekly, daily.
Right.
I'm just curious what it looks like, because I'm sure that they've done this tons of times before. I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. But now that I know this product so well, and I know who's on TV every week better than I ever have, I'm curious what it looks like. That's all. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a fucking blast.
We're in totally capable hands. We're safe as kittens as far as viewership is concerned.
So yeah, April 26th in Nashville, April 26th Run for the Ropes in Louisville, DePlain, Illinois, on May 31st, Longport, Indiana on June 1st, Kentucky, back in Kentucky on August 31st at the Appalachian Wireless Arena in Pikeville.
Oh, that's going to be great.
A lot of fun
about
shows. You can get all of your tickets at ovwtix.com. And
a couple of the things we don't have exact dates yet, but just late breaking from Mr. Kennison himself.
That's right. We just got this literally 10 minutes before we started recording.
Mount Sterling, Kentucky. OVW is coming to you. That is, I predict, because I know a little bit about Mount Sterling. I know a couple people from Mount Sterling. That's going to be a banger right there, ladies and gentlemen. You might not want to miss that. They're also coming to Logansport.
It might still be real in Mount Sterling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all shoot fights in Mount Sterling. And then they are also coming to Logansport, Indiana, wherever. That's when Logan ran. He ended up at that port. That's where he got on a ship and started sailing instead of running. And that's in Indiana. And that's a joke for those of you who are on Social Security. Both those dates will be in June. Look for specific dates later on.
So now do you want to talk about
Yeah, we are now officially going to fit. So, folks, I try to keep a tight rope on things here.
It's been important to us from the very beginning to not make this into every other wrestling podcast out there where we don't talk about OVW.
Yeah, there are other podcasts where you can hear some talk about OVW with a lot of talk about other things. We try to give you OVW podcast is what's on the tin. We try to give you that specifically, but it's WrestleMania. And oh my God,
what a WrestleMania it was!
I missed the first half.
So you did watch night 2, but you did not watch night 1.
I watched last night, but the first night I was I had my son this weekend, and that was the first weekend we'd had together back in Ohio in probably 2 months. I mean, I'd seen him quite a bit since then because he was down here for the basketball tournament. He was here for the Comic-Con. He was here for a robotics competition. So I've seen him quite a bit.
He's a busy young man.
It really is.
No fooling. But this was the first weekend that we had back in Ohio. And Saturday was just, it was
You were
total
Buckeyeing it up, weren't you?
Do what?
You were Buckeyeing it up.
Yeah, we were.
Just doing Ohio things.
I had a specific Ohio thing to do, and it had taken me a year to finally do it.
You finally put
but I did
spaghetti in your chili.
Ew. I don't like spaghetti, but I do like chili.
You're from Ohio.
I don't like spaghetti because it's a texture thing.
Fair.
But that's just me.
I just didn't know you guys weren't allowed to not like spaghetti in your chili.
Sure. Yeah. You don't have to. It's not like state law or anything.
But
like that.
if you don't like cinnamon in your chili, you will be escorted to the Ohio River and put across.
Yeah. That's true. That's 100% true. But so last year, the very last show that I sponsored, the Spot Monkey Show, I won the raffle, and my grand prize was a tattoo certificate.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I did on Saturday. I got a little bit of new ink.
Show it off, baby.
I'm not going to show you the whole thing.
Is it
just a tease?
I will show you enough because there's going to be more. I didn't get to finish it. I was there for probably 3-4 hours.
It's not on your lower back, is it?
No.
I was just wondering.
Have you been talking to Trey? Because he was talking about that. He was talking about when I grow up, I'm going to get a tramp stamp, and I'm like, no, you're not. You are. You
Trey's at that age where
not.
he's just like
he
learned about
that's
subversive comedy.
Yeah, he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah. He's an early teenager or a mid teenager.
I was wearing the official OVW interview jacket, and I have taken that off, so I can show you part of my tattoo.
Okay.
I did know about this. Brian asked me earlier, did you know what I did this weekend? And I ignorantly said no, but I did remember seeing you. There's a picture out there on the Instagrams.
Oh, buddy.
Okay. From my chair, it just looks like a blob of color.
All
paint
that
only
he is
thing
willing to show right now
is 2 words.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
Stylized much like the later Bray Wyatt run, the Fiend run here.
Where's my lantern? Get me
We're not there yet.
Okay.
I only had enough time to do so much, and I wanted to do this one specific thing. I had some artwork that I had started for a different idea years ago, and decided that since I didn't get back to it, I was just going to go in a different direction. So I started with that, and I went to Studio 413 in Mount Orab, Ohio. If you are in Southern Ohio, the LBC, Brown County, I cannot highly recommend them more. My tattoo artist was Dusty, and
Baby.
He is a bigger wrestling fan than all of us put together. His shop is nothing but wrestling memorabilia, signed photos, posters, Cincinnati Reds stuff, Cincinnati Bengals stuff. So there is a ton of stuff.
Does he have one of the Macho Man cards, the Randy Poffo cards?
He does not, but he does have an autographed picture from Macho Man Randy Savage.
I was gonna say if it's half red stuff and half wrestling stuff, I feel like a Randy Poffo card. He's got to get himself one of those.
Oh, hey, man, if you're listening to this, get yourself one of those Randy Poffo Cincinnati Reds cards because you don't have one, and I think that would be pretty cool. But I told him about some other ideas that I had, and they were based on TV characters, and wouldn't you know it, he does voices, and he's very good. He did the whole cast of this one entire show, and I was like, wow, that was nuts. So that's what I did on Saturday, and we had barely enough time to get back to the house and change clothes and clean up and look nice so we could go out to dinner with the family.
So
all right.
Then that brings us to Sunday. Were you finally able to sit and watch?
I was able to sit and watch Sunday, but I wasn't able to go back and watch on Saturday. I figured that it would have been over at 11, and I could have started the thing over from the beginning, but it was still going at 11. And it's like, well, I don't want to catch this in the middle of it or the end of it.
That
so
main
I'll just
event
go back.
Saturday was a long one.
It was
Apparently.
it was a match.
Because it was after 11 o'clock, and it was still going. And it's like, well, I'll just wait until tomorrow. But then I heard about what happened to half of it anyway. But
I'm going to be honest. This was probably the best WrestleMania that I've seen since I started watching wrestling regularly. That's about, I guess the first one I ever watched was 34. Best WrestleMania I've seen since then.
Have you not gone back and watched archives of the old stuff?
I have, yeah. There's several other ones that I've seen full way through, but like, there's some that you're never going to be able to touch.
True.
Like there's some that just exist kind of in this different world, and I think that it's very obvious on paper that they were trying to make this one of those that existed in this totally different world. I think that there was a lot of decisions that were made all night that were very important to keep up the consumer confidence of the Triple H era. And beyond the obvious one, beyond Cody winning, beyond Cody finishing the quote-unquote story, I think that there were...
Spoilers.
I think that there were a ton of other decisions all throughout the card that were made rightfully so to kind of cement Triple H and this run that he's had as a booker in the first, from WrestleMania to WrestleMania, basically. And I think that it did that. Whether this goes down as, WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania 14 or 12 or whatever, whether this goes down like that, time's going to tell. Does it have the potential to? Yes, absolutely. I thought it was wonderful. I made lamb and steak and salmon, so I ate pretty well.
You sure did.
I don't eat that much usually. But I wanted to die because I was stuffed. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I thought that it was, save for the main event of night one, I thought that it was just kind of perfectly paced.
So you do feel that tag team match drug on a little bit? I
think that we could have cut some time on the package and cut some time on the intros. I thought that the match itself maybe was a little long, but I think what made it feel long was the break in the action between the match before it and the actual ding 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 of the main event. But it's the main event. It's The Rock. It's WrestleMania 40. You're going to have a lot of people who haven't watched wrestling in 10 years tuned into this thing just because The Rock is there.
I haven't watched WWE in 10 years.
Was this the first WrestleMania you've ever watched live?
Oh, no.
Okay. He was there for...
That's right. You've been to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was in Orlando for Ric
you were
Flair's
Ric Flair's first last match. Yeah. No, so but you had seen you've seen them live. Okay. Yeah, yes. I knew that. That was in the back of my head.
It's not that I've never watched wrestling. I have been on a long hiatus from it, except for OVW. And honestly, now I think I may have a little bit of a problem because now I kind of want to go watch Raw.
I will tell you this. We are recording as Raw is on right now. That will be the first thing I do as soon as I step foot in my house.
Amen to that, because I'm excited to hear what happened next. I picked up a little couple of rumors while I was in the chair, and because Dusty's as big a wrestling fan as I am, and so we'll see if any of those things happen this evening. But if they don't happen this evening, I'm going to keep my eyes open because I think that it's going to be interesting here sooner than later.
All right, gentlemen, the format is calling. Unless you have any other
one last thing. I mentioned that concept of consumer confidence, not only because I do think it applies to WWE at the moment. But I think I think it's a very interesting snapshot of what confidence in booking actually looks like, and I could take that theory or that idea of consumer confidence in booking and apply it to this week's episode because I thought that I was really ready for this to be one of the tragic throwaway episodes of OVW. This was OVW firing on all cylinders.
Amen.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that concept of how we all kind of expected this to be a filler episode and how it really wasn't. But we will get into all the action from OVW Rise 1286 right after this. Hey, folks, I just stole Jackman's line. Wasn't that weird?
Right after this.
Oh. I almost stole Jackman's line, apparently. Hey, guys, listen. I don't want to alarm anybody. But there are boards over my head. There are things that are not here that are here now. Packages are arriving. There's all kinds of stuff happening. What does it all mean? Well, obviously I know, but I'm not going to tell you yet.
You have an Amazon account?
I do. I have an Amazon account and access to a company credit card. That's kind of what it means. But Why are we doing all this? Answers are coming, folks. Answers are coming very soon. OVW podcast. And so this is the point where I'd throw it back to Jackman.
Welcome back to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is still Jackman Oaks.
And I am still Brian Hines.
Non-title match here for bout one at the top of the show here. Dustin Jackson and Cal Hero. Cal Hero is the OVW media champion. Dustin Jackson has shown since he's come back to OVW recently that he is not to be forgotten. A lot of people in the crowd obviously didn't forget him. And on top of that, these guys are former tag team champions together. So,
are they really?
Yes.
Oh,
a lot of stuff going on in this match. Their run was so much fun back when they were a tag team. Just two guys that were kind of at the same level in OVW at the same time, kind of on the same level experience-wise. And then just like the crowd loved them. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
And I think that obviously that show of respect at the very beginning of this match kind of winking back to their time as tag team partners.
That's really nice.
Yeah, no, I was very, very happy to see this match at the opening of the night because, to be honest, ever since Dustin Jackson's come back, I've been waiting for a match with Cal Hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
just because they have the history, man. And when they
Sure.
when they were tag teams, and I was going to OVW a lot before I was able to watch it on TV, and way before this thing was ever a
thought in anyone's mind.
In anyone's mind. I loved Dustin and Cal, so like I was just happy to see this back. Reminded me of simpler times. Cal Hero takes the victory here, though, as always. Non-title match, Cal Hero.
Yeah, kind of figured as much.
Again, why are they all non-title? Why have a title if no one ever puts it on the line?
I ask myself that all the time.
Is there even a number one contender to the media championship right now?
It's whoever's better with social media.
That's how we determine. Yeah, you determine the number one contender by followers.
If that's the case, then it's got to be Jack Vaughn. I mean, that guy's on fire with TikTok and all the reels.
This is true. If it was all about social media, the only choice is Jack Vaughn.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, he's definitely the most entertaining in my opinion as far as that goes. But always putting out great content. So if you haven't taken a look at the old veteran on the interwebs, maybe take a look.
So this
that was a thigh slap.
This sketch up next here. This is kind of a follow-up to ZDP's match from last week where he was carted off.
Yeah, they threw up the X at the end of the match, which means danger if you are not familiar with that in the wrestling world. And he was carried out of the ring by security and doctors and Luke Curtis's non-mom. Mm-hmm. And so we see him this week in this sketch, and he has been treated by a doctor, and instead of getting the frothing, foaming at the mouth, angry, frantic personality that we know and have come to love over the last 6 months while we've done this podcast, ZDP says, "Man, I feel great. I haven't felt this great in years.
I feel better than ever.
I feel better than ever."
Yeah, something to this effect. Yes.
It was great to hear him finally speak, and he had a confusing conversation with Hoda Peso a little while after that, and
it's dangerous here. He said,
"Yeah, it's dangerous here."
I do want to point out that this comes into it later. Whenever he does have the conversation with Hoda is already on crutches.
Yes. Yeah,
like
Hoda
it was
is
already concerning at that point, and we'll get to more concern of that later on.
But ZDP is
now known as Zachary D. Pittman.
Zachary D. Pittman the third. For now. But
he ends up finding Dalton McKenzie bullying some camera guy or something.
I missed that part.
Yeah, he ends up finding Dalton McKenzie bullying some camera guy.
I can kind of see that. I know Dalton
a
personally.
Guy who takes care of bullies.
Yeah.
Well, and it was honestly, I didn't hate it, but like Dalton's always been so nice.
He is.
People like. I think he kind of tends babyface to the crowd. That like I thought it was like honestly I would have maybe had it been Carson Drake bullying the camera guy.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Carson Drake had a full platter of being a butthole this episode, so
chocolate starfish party of one.
I'm just saying. Maybe Maybe that's what I would have done. But yeah, so
The most epic jean jacket ever.
at the end
Dalton
of this at the end of this last ZDP kind of backstage vignette, we see the premiere of a new character.
Yes.
Super
Yes.
Z.
Apparently, Zach's friend. Yes,
Yeah.
the
Right.
friend of
Yeah.
Zach Pittman.
Yeah.
Much in the way that Peter Parker always knows how to find the best shots of Spider-Man.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clark
Zachary
Kent
D.
always
Pittman,
gets the pull quote from Superman.
And oddly enough, he is a freelance photographer for OVW.
Yes, Zach has now that Zach is feeling better, he is pursuing apparently his dream of photojournalism. So
Yeah.
Before we see the newly anointed Super Z in action, though, we do need to talk about Carson Drake and Big Zo here. Kind of a weird match because last week they were together on the same side of the ring, and we even pointed out at that point, like, why is Big Zo in with the heels?
Right.
This love Big Zo beating the tar out of Carson Drake.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed that.
This was a
immensely.
great pairing for Carson Drake's skill set.
Carson Drake literally got hit once, and money flew out of him like stuffing out of a pillow.
Big Zo is just like incredibly entertaining every time you see him. Probably one of the most straightforward standard guys that you have on the entire OVW roster. Just like looks mean, can be mean, athletic as all hell. Carson Drake is, not as likable as Big Zo, not as likable as Big Zo in the Davis Arena.
I've seen trash cans more likable than Carson Drake.
I will say I did love Carson Drake using the stroke. That is, of course, the Jeff Jarrett move that's so synonymous with his time in TNA. And
he's already stole Jeff Jarrett's guitar move, so why not?
Well, I'm all about it, man. Like, because honestly, I feel like Jeff Jarrett's the type of guy that's going to take a paycheck from anywhere, and if that means he's going to come hit Carson Drake with a guitar at one point for stealing all of his gimmicks, I'm okay with that. Because I love Jeff Jarrett, man. I'm kind of an unabashed Jeff Jarrett guy, like, to be honest with you. Big Zo loses, Carson Drake hits him with the stroke. One thing, though, that always made Jeff Jarrett so great was Karen. And at the end here, Carson Drake kind of suggests that he might be wanting to make an honest lady out of Ari Alexander the way that Jeff Jarrett made a dishonest lady out of Karen Angle all those years ago. But he ends up just breaking up with her. He ends up and saying some... What's the line when he leaves? We could still be friends as long as there's benefits.
Yeah, that was his closing line.
Just Carson being Carson. Just Carson Drake things.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so we'll see, I guess. He mentions Shalance in this promo as well. Shalance she was smart enough to not show up or something like that. So it does kind of seem as if in the story, Guittari, Ari Alexander, and Shalance could still have the opportunity to be a unit, even though Carson Drake's not in it, because she was mentioned in this thing.
Potentially,
but I guess we'll just have to see. What is going to end up happening with Ari, with Shalance, and with Carson Drake.
Well, at the very least, the upshot for you, I suppose, on this one is maybe she won't be referred to as Guittari anymore.
She won't be referred to as Guittari. Hopefully, she can still tag team with Shalance, because I do love that as a pairing.
They are a unit.
Yeah,
I love that as a pairing. I think that's money, baby. But another positive is when I see them, I won't have to see them with Carson Drake.
Brian
Hines just saw Super Z.
Yeah, I just caught the part with Super Z. When I tried to watch this at home, there were a lot of things that I was not able to see because it was constantly buffering or the sound was just not there.
I do think that
I didn't get the full experience.
I do think at some point they did re-upload the video that ran a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Sound and kind of audio,
we have definitely
video
heard
quality
there
wise.
was some technical issues with the episode. We do hear things.
So if you're wondering why maybe you were having trouble watching it at home, if you weren't able to watch it live, I think that they did go back and fix it in the form of an additional upload. But since you just saw him, tell us about Bout 3 here, Brian Hines.
Bout 3, based on the last Zachary D. Pittman sketch, was between Dalton McKenzie, who had been bullying the cameraman backstage.
And Dalton McKenzie's a big guy.
He is. Dalton is
He's a big guy.
He was a big guy when I met him 10 years ago, and he's twice the size he is now.
Oh, golly.
Or twice the size now than he was then. I mean, he's always been
He's a
huge.
big boy.
And like one of the first things I probably talked about with him was, hey, man, you ever think about getting into wrestling?
And ZDP is not a big guy?
No, he's not a big guy. When he was here the day of the Manchester show, he wasn't in full.
ZDP.
He didn't show up as ZDP. He showed up as Zach. And to the people who didn't know who he was or what was going on, they thought he was one of the other wrestlers' sons. Which just kind of shook my head like, no.
I guess what I'm trying to say, though, here is that for a premiering Super Z here, Dalton McKenzie is a brick wall.
Yeah.
For a guy like ZDP.
But it was a perfect choice for a debut
Yes.
because they're opposites in that term. I mean, Dalton is huge, and he is built like a brick shit house. ZDP, or I guess Zach, or Super Z.
Zach is
It's going
completely
to take.
different.
It's going to take me a minute. I'm sorry.
There are
Everybody,
now two
just
people.
relax.
Okay. Oh.
They're two totally different people, totally different sizes, and it was like watching a superhero take on a supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
It really was in that sense because he's just bouncing all over the place, and it doesn't really seem to have a whole lot of effect at first, which makes Dalton look even bigger and badder. But
I've got to really give it to ZDP here, to Super Z here, man. It feels like his entire offense changed.
It does.
It feels like his entire presence has changed. And I mean, obviously it has.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
different
completely
character.
different style.
But like, I am impressed.
Super Z's more of a high flyer.
I'm impressed to the degree that he was able to just bust this out almost seemingly overnight.
I had serious doubts about
this totally different thing,
and I was upset when I heard about it.
And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that Super Z is the package that we expected.
No,
but I think that it's just like fucking weird enough that this is not even we haven't even seen the surface of it, let alone be able to scratch it.
I can't wait. I mean, like, I really can't.
I don't think that this is anywhere near as straightforward as it seems. And like, I think that, just look at something, Al's right in the show, look at something like Head, it's such an easy thing to point back to, but just like this, like Al's ability to embrace weirdness and turn convention on its head. I don't think that Super Z is anywhere. I don't think that it's going to be this straightforward for very long, because I think that like the weirdness here is you can go so far with it.
Oh yeah.
And even if you chose not to do that, people are still going to love ZDP or Super Z. Sorry.
Super Z was so over.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm so glad that you were like, yeah, we're going. It's a Tuesday. I don't care. There's tornadoes. Get in the car.
We didn't really. It was a Tuesday. It was weird. We're tired.
Yeah.
We didn't want to go. We knew. I mean, man.
We figured
by about the time ZDP happened, we said, "Oh, I'm glad we went."
Yeah, definitely.
Which happened pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, match number 3.
Match 3. Yeah.
Or a half hour in, or whatever it was.
I mean, the first vignette was right after the first match, so it's like, holy crap, we're getting it tonight.
Yeah.
Here we
when
go.
they took him out at the end of the last match last week, I figured that was probably it, but I didn't expect that they would capitalize on it and move the story forward this quickly the following week, but they sure did, and they both knocked it out of the park.
I'm just gonna say buckle up, because that thing's gonna get weird, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
If you like the idea, or you saw it and you liked Dalton and Super Z competing here, I think it's fair to say, if you're going to go out and see OVW on tour this summer, I think there's a pretty good chance you could see them in action again.
Definitely.
I would love to see them in action again.
That is the rumor I hear, is that we're going to see them as part of their touring show.
And also, Zach, get to the nearest T-shirt printing press as quickly as possible before you get out on tour, because you may make some money with some Super Z T-shirts.
This summer. I went to the bank this weekend, so I have cash. I don't have to worry about the Cash App or anything like that.
Can we even talk about the hand symbol? Did you guys notice that?
The Zoltan?
Yeah.
From Dude, Where's My Car?
I guess.
That is.
Yeah.
I had a misspent youth.
I like
it's a Super Z.
finisher off the top rope where he jumped and did the classic Superman pose when he's flying and he's got like one fist in front and then the other one behind him, and he had to get the cape before he went off the top rope.
Yeah, when he got the cape, that made
Yeah.
me happy.
Well,
Yeah, it really just it's like the rug in The Big Lebowski. It really tied the whole thing together, you know?
and I think also too that if you had asked me before what ZDP's finisher was, I don't know if I would have been able to tell you. But now I know exactly what it is, and it's the first time I've ever seen it.
How often
yeah.
did How often did the ZDP character win?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is if he had a finisher, I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I know exactly what this is. It made a huge impact. This is a huge coming out party for whatever they're going to be doing with the Super Z character, and it's just nice to see somebody that works really hard get an opportunity.
Yes. A major one, and actually do something.
Not that
with
everybody doesn't work hard, but
Yeah.
nobody could have predicted the zombie ZDP character getting over in the way that he did and putting on these,
And now
kind of
that he's
harrowing
Zack.
matches
Yeah.
every single time he went out there. It's nice to see. And I know that it is weird. And it is like for an adult like wrestling fan, you kind of look at it and you kind of say, "Oh, I like this guy enough to continue to support this." This ain't. We ain't even seen the surface of this.
No.
Let alone started scratching it.
And-
this
and-
is gonna get really cool.
Now
I
that
think.
we've done the character shift, Zachary D. Pittman, would you come on the show and talk to us, because we weren't able to talk to ZDP because all we would have gotten was
Oh, you guys did try, remember? It ended up being a hilarious
well,
video.
it did, and
You guys
was
almost
that-
got eaten.
that
Victor
didn't
was missing
work.
for 3 days.
Yeah, he was.
Thank God, best 3 days around here
Yeah.
ever had.
But now that we have,
now that Zach is pursuing his dream as a photojournalist, I honestly, I wonder if we might put him on the production team.
well,
It'd be nice to have somebody, he lives in Louisville.
We do need an intern.
Yeah, we do need an intern.
Yeah,
He's
because don't
busy
let
taking
anybody tell you
pictures.
there's any money in this thing.
and his friend is out there fighting crime. I don't see how he's got the time for this.
I just
want
want to see him. I just want to see him in the same. There's something weird's going on here. I just want to see him in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Something weird's going on here between Zachary D. Pittman and Super Z. I kid.
My favorite part about this, in terms of what could happen, is what happens if there's a Super ZDP.
Like Marvel's What If.
Yeah.
Like
like Marvel's What If.
Oh my!
Yeah, like he feels great. He has the superpowers, but that part that's still maybe in there rears its frothing head once
Marvel's
again.
What If the comic book series, not Marvel's What If the TV show that took this really great
Same
thing.
premises.
And yeah, but one of them had heart and was cool, and the other one was a mindless cash grab.
I liked the What If cartoons.
Yeah, they were fine.
I watched a couple with the boy. They're all right.
I liked that one Star Wars cartoon thing where they did the Akira Kurosawa. Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
I liked
the
that.
Visions.
Yeah, I liked that. That was pretty good. But I like Akira Kurosawa. Imagine I'm a hipster on the internet.
No.
Yeah.
So, just, speaking of hipster on the internet and bad opinions, Beaches and Cream lament the passing of the Golden Lions here. They have a whole
A-hole, yes.
a whole funeral. Don't give them any. These two. They'll take anything and run with it. They had a whole funeral here.
This was hilarious.
To me, that's what
People
I
were
liked
chanting,
it.
"This is boring."
I liked it a lot.
In between matches during the commercial break, they set the stage for this, and they wheel out the casket and get it into the ring and make like the memorial service set. And then when they both go through the curtain and they just stand there for a second, and then they both kind of pause in unison and take like the wedding march steps, I laughed so hard. And everybody's just kind of looking at me like I'm an idiot. But to be fair, I am an idiot. But this was really funny.
To be honest, this is kind of like peak. Jackman's gonna sit here and complain about something. I actually loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was
we
really
thought this
funny.
was hilarious.
Okay, so I'm going to be the one to sit here and complain about it. That was horse stuff.
No, man. Luscious Lawrence broke out Yiddish in the middle of it. Like, it's it was funny to me, and like Omar here as a heel Like, there was something, I think, kind of, I don't know if he was doing it intentionally or if it just kind of happened, but I think it was really special either way. There was a literal moment where he didn't give a fuck about entertaining these people or making jokes. He enjoyed how much they were hating it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's into it.
He ate that up.
Yeah, he's into that.
And he wasn't reacting as if someone that was losing a crowd. He was reacting as if someone that loved that he lost the crowd.
Yeah.
And I loved this.
Sort of
like,
a sadist, you'd
yeah,
say. Like,
Yeah.
enjoys inflicting pain on people.
Yeah.
The only
I
thing
loved
missing
this.
from this promo for me, the one thing that would have made this like absolutely perfect if like at the end of it they played "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday" by Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. That would have been really funny, but they didn't, and it was for me it was over pretty good. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was hilarious.
I would just say the only thing for me is you can't go all black, Omar, and wear brown shoes. Gotta get
Oh.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he got you there.
Yeah,
Dude.
come on.
Honestly, I found this to be a great time to go to the snack bar.
Yeah. Well, he did a better job of dressing himself than Joe Mack did a few weeks ago when he was wearing that like sleeveless button down and
He went
whatever
to
clothes,
Goodwill and got what
whatever
could get
clothes he
ripped
got
off.
from the Lost and Found or whatever it was. But
No, I kind of like that too.
yeah.
Oh, can we mention that the snack bar at Davis Arena now has chicken wings?
And
And they are really good.
yeah, they are delicious. They really
are.
I tried one that was a dry rub. I don't know if
Yeah.
they have different kinds.
That's all they had.
I was
last
just
week.
kind of surprised that they had it. And
There is no reason why chicken wings at a wrestling show shouldn't be actually that affordable. I think they're $10 for 5 wings, which is really not bad. You're paying $2 a wing. You're not getting that at some other places. You're not getting that at sit-down restaurants sometimes.
No.
And
These did come from a local restaurant. I forget which one, but these did come from.
Yeah, but
they-
the
they
quality
catered
was
to
the
there.
quality was.
You paid $10 for 5 chicken
Yeah.
wings. You know where that money went.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
This might be the new winner at the Davis Arena.
I'm still going with Wix, but if somebody I'm with gets the wings, watch your back.
Yeah, it was. I was
taking one.
I was legitimately impressed. Like,
Yeah.
and really they were, and not just impressed because maybe I was unsure what to expect. They impressed me even if I had higher standards walking into it. They were great.
It was the smell that lured me in. It really
Yeah.
was, because they smelled phenomenal.
Once again, this podcast teeter-totters on the edge of becoming a food podcast.
Dakota, that's for you.
Nobody else makes food podcasts out here. I've
Well-
never heard another one ever.
Ever? Really?
Yeah, dude.
Have
Wait,
you
is
tried-
that a thing that people do?
I mean, have you tried searching for it?
Yeah, no. Trust me, everybody got a food podcast.
Podcasts about food?
There's only two things
Really?
that we need to figure out a better format, because I think there's 99% of all podcasts made are food podcasts and wrestling podcasts. So I think we might.
And as far as that
we
goes,
could
we're
just-
all in our 30s to 40s, and one of us has a beard, and we listen to metal, and we didn't need to start a podcast, but here we are.
All we need to do is start solving crimes in the middle of this podcast, and we'll be good to go.
Or just talking about crimes that haven't been solved.
Yeah.
Unsolved mysteries. That's a whole other thing, I think. Or at least it used to be.
All right.
Where were we? Are we still talking about OVW?
See,
Yeah.
this is what happens when we broke the format at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Now it's not. Now all rules are just
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, let's try to get back to it. But
Oh yeah, we were.
This will be
talking
easy
about-
to get back to here because it's Shane Mercer and Jack Vaughn.
yeah.
That was such
The-
a good match.
The main event of hour one was Iron Demon Shane Mercer versus the veteran, wait for it, Jack Vaughn. That was the thigh slap.
Man. So the only thing about this match that I think I would take away from it is I think Jack Vaughn was like kind of like one of the last guys that I really wanted to see a good Shane Mercer.
Really? Why's that?
Because I might have waited. If this isn't the beginning of a angle, I might have waited for this one for a pay-per-view.
I think I would have rather seen Shane Mercer versus Jack Vaughn's mustache. I think that in itself would be a solid match.
Jack Vaughn's mustache does have almost a height advantage on Shane Mercer. Shane Mercer is not the tallest guy in the world, but he is one of the strongest men in the world. Not the strongest man in Kentucky, obviously, but
obviously not.
This man is a bulldog. He's absolutely incredible. I just think that like I want to see Jack Vaughn with that big like
mustache.
No, he already has one of those. That big canvas to paint on in a pay-per-view setting with Shane Mercer. Because I think that Jack Vaughn's psychology and his ring work in that like wide, non-commercial break, like non-televised pay-per-view setting will be great eventually when it happens. I think we will eventually get it. I'm hoping that this is just planting the seeds for it and not saying, hey, you guys are good enough to get a good match on TV this week. Go out and have it. Because I think that these two could have a whole program, and it would be awesome. And I think that Shane Mercer is at the point in his OVW career where a guy like Jack Vaughn is just going to get him to the next level.
Well, I don't disagree with you as far as that goes.
So hopefully, this was a great match. I enjoyed it. Jack Vaughn takes the victory, but hopefully this is not the end of these two guys at OVW, because I think there's money to be made between these two guys.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they need like a best of 7 series.
No.
But a heated rivalry would be all right.
Yeah.
Or something that like just kind of like pops up every now and again.
Well, and then it kind of, Jack Vaughn, in my mind, I love him in the title picture.
Yeah,
I don't think
always.
he necessarily needs to be in the title picture. And a guy like Shane Mercer would be a great use of his time outside of the title picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, he's the veteran, baby. We know he pulled one of the biggest veteran moves of all time this past week by signing some cleave on the way out.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I missed that.
He signed at the gimmick table. He signed a girl's chest, and he said, "This is the biggest veteran move of all time."
For some reason, in my memory now, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, is signing somebody's cleavage. And
you know, Dusty signed cleave, bro. You know, Dusty signed cleave.
Here we go.
Dusty. You know he did. That's why Jack Vaughn does. Because he looks at the stars of yesteryear and borrows all of his grace and wisdom from them.
Yeah.
Let's see. America's Sweetheart versus the Bad Girls Club, this time in the form of Layla and Tiffany, the most contentious version of the Bad Girls Club here.
So
the
far.
A-team, you might say.
This would be this would be quote unquote the A-team. I love the Bad Girls Club jackets this past week. They're kind of the Blackpool Combat Club jackets.
They're really pink ladies from Greece.
Yeah. But I thought that all four of the girls looked rocking in them. Thought they were rocking coats. And I've said this in the past. Like, I love how quick the Bad Girls Club were able to come together and look like a team. And those jackets just are another kind of layer on that. Nobody in the women's division looks more like a team, though, right now than America's Sweethearts, Lady Bird and Sophia Rose.
Absolutely right. You couldn't ask for a more over tag team than America's Sweethearts. And they're growing every week in terms of like popularity, in terms of like their skill set, the work they put in, how they react to the crowd, how the crowd reacts to them, and I don't think that there's a hotter tag team in the women's division in terms of popularity.
There's a few things in this match specifically that I'd like to touch on here while we're recapping it. One is kind of the further dissolution of the Bad Girls Club, specifically Layla and Tiffany. There's a point where Tiffany is on the outside gloating, bragging that she's number one. Layla calls her into the ring, but she's distracted by her own ego, so she can't come help Layla. Thought that was great, kind of another another version of them inching toward the dissolution of them as a tag team. I thought that Lady Bird doing the heavy lifting during this match was perfect. Thought it was perfect. I think that very easily so, Sophia Rose, and understandably so, Sophia Rose has kind of become this thing unto herself in this tag team and in this division. I thought Lady Bird here fucking nailed it, fucking killed it, and made kind of reminded you that this is a tag team that you're watching, right?
Yeah,
And
just like last week, it was. I mean, Sophia Rose was the powerhouse.
Yeah.
She was the tour de force. And this week, it was Ladybird.
Yeah.
So I mean,
double moon salts just look great, just fantastic. Double kind of, I guess, more of like a lion salt type thing, if we're getting specific. And then also at the very end here, Hema and Ellie, you don't really get to see it very well on television. The shot is kind of missed, but live at the arena, them fighting on the outside and not being able to break up the pin so that America's Sweethearts take home the victory, and them kind of rolling into the ring at the exact same time live looked fantastic. Like the communication, the timing between that, and just like how dire it looked and how drastic it looked and how real it looked that they had fumbled over each other while trying to make the save here. Was kind of unfortunately lost by the camera angle that it was shot on. But I do want to mention it because live it looked fantastic. But those are kind of my like 3 takeaways from this match. I thought it was perfect in terms of just not like in-ring stuff, but advancing the story that we're telling here. I thought it was really, really well done.
yeah, especially going into a double cross here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because now the tension among all of these ladies is starting to be more palpable, especially on the Bad Girls Club side. But
well,
the only exception being America's Sweethearts,
mm-hmm.
because Freya and Hollywood have had their differences in the past and very recently. But I really hope that the double cross does not come from America's Sweethearts.
I think that would be just like mind-blowingly bad decision.
You think
in terms of
are going to turn heel?
in terms of a standalone pay-per-view, that would be a really, really good like surprise move. But in terms of long-term storytelling, you can't break these guys up right now.
It'd be a swerve for the sake of a swerve, and in this case, not the right one.
No.
I think there's already so much tension in that match that I think you don't have to have. I think America's Sweethearts, the smart thing to do is to roll with that momentum, have everyone else dissolve, and then you have America's Sweethearts there standing tall, best friends, everybody in the crowd loves them. Like that's the move. And I mean, you touch on something very interesting. The next few months of OVW are going to be absolutely insane. Yeah. Like just in terms of how much content that they have, the shows, how much touring they're going to be doing, how many matches they're actually going to be putting on week in and week out, some that you see, some that you don't. They really do have to start stacking the cards now to fill the tank for enough to get through these next few months logically.
Because there's a lot of storytelling to be told.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job stacking their deck so far.
No,
they've done a really good job stacking their deck
whatsoever. But if I were to put money on who I think would or should be the first women's tag team titles holders, All American Sweethearts. The American Sweethearts.
If let's say tomorrow there was a belt, women's tag team belts that came out tomorrow, it has to be them, without a doubt. It has to be them without a doubt. The only other team that it could be is in the process of breaking up right now. The Bad Girls Club. Yeah. So that's just that's my 2 cents. It's my 2 cents. Let's get to the penultimate match of the night here. Brian Hines. Adam Revolver comes out to commentary. The match is, of course, between Tuss and Chains and Dysfunction, Kyle Roberts and Brandon Espinoza.
Kyle Roberts is new to that tag pairing, isn't he?
I think that we just had... No, I think they've been... Dysfunction has been Roberts and Espinoza for... Unless I missed something in commentary.
Now, we
haven't seen them in several months.
I didn't catch anything in commentary, but I did see where Dysfunction added a new member.
Okay.
At I want to say Squared Circle Expo, maybe last week.
All kinds of stuff happens at Squared Circle Expo.
Yeah,
we gotta get up there.
They were. We'll have to go next year. There were people that were there that I didn't expect to see, and then there were people that were there that had to leave suddenly for other reasons, and we'll just keep our eyes open to see what happens. But this match was. I mean, this is my favorite guys tag team, Tuss and Chains.
Yeah, really great kind of babyface tag team action back to back here, and both of the babyface teams end up taking the victory.
Yeah, but as even though they are known as dysfunction, they actually functioned quite well.
Yeah. We haven't seen them on TV
Not a lot.
in a while. But these guys, I know Espinosa's been around for a long time, at least. I feel like I remember seeing him back years ago when I'd go to OVW. You really just need a team to go out and do exactly what happened here, which is have Donovan Cecil throw you around, have TW3 jump into Donovan Cecil's arms, have Donovan Cecil run at the other team, and that's pretty much what we saw. Didn't think it needed to be anything more than this. And in fact, it was pitch perfect, and Dysfunction did exactly what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing bad to be said about that.
No, it was a solid match from both sides, and it was very entertaining. And they're just a great team.
Adam Revolver had some really great stuff on commentary here about we're in the world of wrestling. This is a wrestling match. Whatever weird feats of strength Donovan Cecil does in the World's Strongest Man competitions doesn't mean that he can wrestle. Thought that was like easy commentary. But yeah, like that's the kind of commentary I like. Yeah, he's strong. Yeah, he's big. He's not Adam Revolver. He doesn't have the amount of in-ring experience Adam Revolver has. Like I like that. I'm liking Adam Revolver more and more every single day. As you draw a thumb on a face on your thumb over here. Yeah. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that prominent of a nose.
Okay, I'll do better next time.
It's a little
you just
rounder.
Can't talk about him without drawing a thumb on your.
It's instinctive at this point. It's like whenever Pavlov rung the bell and his pets expected treats and stuff. So anytime I hear Adam Revolver, I take out a pen and draw on my thumb and.
We're close here. We're rounding out the show.
Yeah.
Big, huge in-ring sketch up next. Starts off with Al, brings in Tony Gunn, grants him a strap match, one of my personal favorite stipulations to see in person. Love a good strap match in person. Man, if Enzo is willing to get hit real hard, that's going to be very cathartic. This strap match between Tony Gunn and Real One, this Arkansas strap match, of course, Tony Gunn being the Arkansas redneck, this has the potential to be really, really, really good, and I think really help Enzo's reputation in the Davis Arena if he really does let Tony Gunn come out and smack the hell out of him for 20 minutes. I'd love to see it, and I think Enzo's just crazy enough to do it. I kind of can't wait for this match. But that's not the only thing that happens during this sketch. We see kind of the continuance of Freya and Haley being upset that they have to work together in that Four Corners match. The Bad Girls Club comes out. The All-American Sweethearts come out, to kind of advance that story of that Four Corners tag match that we're going to see at Double Crossed, right? And it's just a bunch of yelling and bickering until we cut to black. I liked the sketch a lot. I liked it because there is this element in OVW right now where Al is the authority figure, but for some reason he can't get these women under control. Yeah. And I kind of like that Al is like the big, like strong, like authority figure guy. And then for whatever reason, these women are just so passionate and so wild and so vicious.
Everybody's I do what I want.
Yeah, that even Al's just like, well, I have to just let it happen.
Yeah.
Not only that,
he does turn to my favorite is when they're all arguing, and he just sort of turns to the crowd like, what am I supposed to do with all this?
It gives him.
That's a Kermit the Frog move for sure.
It gives him more of a like camp counselor type thing than it does like a hard ass like authority figure thing. And I think with these women in the division and the way that Al's character is right now, I think it really works, and I really like it. I like that he's willing to come out and drag the dudes around by the ears, and with the girls he's kind of willing to just like say, I'll let you guys figure it out.
Yeah.
I enjoy it very much. But like I said, just kind of another they're just trying to put as much gas in the tank over the next month or so to try to get through this busy schedule that they're going to end up We have another sketch right after that, right before the main event of the night. Hoda Pesos is injured. We saw him earlier in the night with ZDP on the crutches. We all get an explanation for why he was on the crutches. Hate to see it, man.
Yeah.
Hate to see it. I will quit this podcast if I ever come on here and am happy to see anyone injured, and that because that's disgusting, first off. But in Hoda Pesos' case right now, hasn't been a champion for that long, multi-time champion, hasn't been a champion for this reign for that long.
Yeah, just a couple weeks.
Has had some great matches in this reign so far, and was obviously very emotional about it. And we know that this guy is a guy that cares a lot about his craft, cares a lot about the people around him, cares a lot about his family, and it was a bummer, man. It was a bummer to see this.
It was. I hated to see it. Everybody in Davis Arena was upset about it when, he kind of, just exhaled and took the belt off, and everyone was just...
People knew what it was.
People knew when he came out what was going to happen, and it didn't make it any easier to deal with.
No.
Because it was still a sad affair, unfortunately.
Will Austin does come out because we still are at a wrestling show at the end of the day. Will Austin comes out, attacks Hoda Peso. I assume Will be around when Hoda is off the shelf, and I assume we're probably going to Star, and
It's what it looks like, yeah, because
Star
Rider
and,
came out to
Will
defend
Austin
his
here.
friend.
Yeah.
But kicking the crutches away from Hoda Peso as he's dropping the belt, prick party one.
So let me ask you here before we get into the main event.
Push Will Austin. What?
Yes, push Will Austin. That actually is kind of the question I wanted to ask. Do you put it on Star, or do you put it on Will Austin?
I don't know. I honestly don't. But I think there needs to be like a really, really good non-run-of-the-mill match to determine which of those two gets the belt.
I think that...
like some kind of weird stipulation or something very oddly specific to those two because they have history that goes back quite a ways.
Sure.
Would like to see a 2 out of 3 falls, maybe?
2 out of 3. I
okay,
think that
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I think that
Said
there's
Meatloaf.
I think there's a lot of room at the table for what you could do. I will say that,
Especially now that the head's been vacated.
I will say that no, we already talked about that earlier.
Oh yeah.
That Star would probably be the choice that is more in line with what had already been going on, right?
Yeah.
But
with the push Will Austin movement,
I like the chaos of putting it on Will Austin though.
Yeah.
I like the chaos of putting it on Will Austin though. So and then I mean, not to mention when Hoda Pesos isn't there and plans change, you have Orion, you have a ton of other guys. That
especially after this.
We're sitting and talking about it like it only has to be Star Rider and
it doesn't.
And oh gosh, if I could get through the way we're talking
Will Austin.
Yeah, we're talking about
think
like it only has to
Orion's
be
right
those
there
two guys,
at-
but it could be Orion. In fact, putting it on Will Austin kind of lays the work right for an Orion thing. Like there's a ton of stuff you could do that would be fun. There's a ton of stuff that you could do would be fun. I guess in the coming weeks, we'll figure it out. Push Will Austin. Sorry, I forgot your name. It's been a long day. Main event, hour 2 here.
The main event of the evening is
A non-title match.
another non-title match. Well, it was a Tuesday, and it was kind of a weird day, but it was between Big Beef, Niles Garvin, and champion Luke Curtis. Certified. And on commentary, I didn't expect this,
Me
but
neither.
I was pleased that it happened, was Superior Tony Evans, accompanied by Jay De Niro. who-
Didn't expect it, but liked it.
I liked it quite a bit. Jay De Niro didn't add anything to the commentary, obviously, because
He did loom behind him.
that in
hilariously.
itself, from a visual standpoint, is always going to be menacing, and I'm always going to love that. But in terms of actual words and conversation, no, you get the same as you always get. Dirty looks.
We've talked about the non-title match thing, and we will continue to because it seems like it's not going to go anywhere. I kind of looked at this though, as if it was a title match. I kind of put it in my head as if it was a title match, and I said to myself, Big Beef is like the perfect guy right now to be that first match out of Luke Curtis's win. He's getting a lot of traction. He's red hot. People like him. He's believable. He's gotten some big wins, but we knew that he wasn't going to beat Luke Curtis realistically, right?
Not the first time out after.
Not the first time out after.
The first time winning a title now.
I thought that he was like the perfect guy to go against Luke Curtis here. I think that it is a big vote of confidence for where we could see Big Beef in the coming months for him to be the first guy against Luke Curtis here.
I hope so.
And I thought Big Beef was able to make Luke look like a great champion in this match.
He sure did.
He was the perfect choice for the first match here of Luke Curtis's title reign. Yeah. I thought it was really, really, really good stuff. Love Big Beef, love Luke Curtis, but this was a
non-title match.
It was a non-title match, and it was an angle disguised as a match because really, as you had mentioned, this was just about Tony Evans being on commentary. This was just about Jay De Niro and Tony Evans being on camera, and this is about Tony Evans challenging Luke Curtis for the OVW Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, the match itself was...
Me too.
Yeah, the match itself was just a foil.
Yes.
A means to an end, and the end being building towards a certified and superior.
Let's not undersell this match, guys. This was
no.
No.
This would get
no,
some.
But no, it is a great match and big. And like I said, this could be the moment if they choose to go this way, where in 6 months from now we look at Big Beef as a singles title holder.
Could very well be.
Like I think that this was as big of a hey, pay attention to Big Beef as it was a great match for Luke Curtis, and it was a great match for Luke Curtis. I think it was a hey, pay attention to Big Beef as so much as it was to hey, pay attention to next week whenever Tony Evans and Luke Curtis finally start their angle in earnest. I'm not trying to take away from the action here at all when I say the conclusion of this match was not who won between Luke Curtis and Big Beef. The conclusion of this match was what happened after the bell rang, right?
True enough. So, can we take just a moment and talk about Big Beef and Big Zoe, the Beef Mode Beasts, who we never ever see together anymore?
They still have the same title.
They both still have the and I think they even get introduced as part of the Beef Mode.
I believe you're correct.
Beef Mode Beasts.
Get it right.
I'm trying real hard. That's hard.
Say that 5 times fast. You can't say it once.
That's true. So it's just interesting to me that they still kind of affiliate them as a group, even though much like Zach and Super Z, we never see them together anymore.
I think.
Are you saying that they're the same person?
I mean, in that case, I think we can kind of assume they're not.
Okay.
I think that I think you're right. I think that it is worth bringing up because we haven't, and they were a great tag team, still are a great tag team, presumably.
And they've both been working this whole time.
I just think that they're ready-made to be put back together at any time, and then that you don't necessarily need to see them together all the time. But it would be nice to see them together more often than we have over the last, 6 to 8 weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has been quite a while since we've seen them in tag team action.
So Tony Evans, of course, makes it known after Luke Curtis picks up the victory here.
Well, sure.
I'm coming for that title.
Hush.
He's coming for all the titles.
He wants every title.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, who doesn't?
It says a lot about him that you can put him against anybody in any title picture.
Yeah.
It says a lot about him that he's believable enough for that. People dislike him enough for that. And
some people do.
I'm very interested to see against the foil of Tony Evans what Luke Curtis looks like and how Luke Curtis responds. Because I really do think this question that we say, what is Luke Curtis babyface? What does babyface Luke Curtis look like? I think it can be answered in a program with Superior here.
Well, it could very well be. Time will tell. It usually does.
You going to take us way behind? I think I did it last couple weeks.
You got it. The OVW Podcast, the 10th Carney Award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW Podcast broadcast team is Jackman Oaks and myself, Brian Hines. Our senior engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. After watching Wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate us 5 stars, and give us a review. Please and thank you in advance. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Threads, and all the way to Davis Arena.
Is TikTok Threads and TikTok Threads, are those two different things?
I thought they were two different
TikTok
things.
is owned by Instagram. I mean, Threads is owned by Meta.
So there should be a comma here.
Yes, there should be a comma there. We just added Threads to that ending, but yes.
You failed.
Love you guys.
Bye.